All right, we're here for episode 98 at TG Strength with Lester Ho here in Cheltenham. Lester has been on the podcast before on episode 22, which was released on the 4th of July, way back in 2016. So that podcast was more about where Lester's come from and how he's got to today. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about geriatric old lifters like myself and the new focus that Lester has on helping masters athletes compete and all of the different intricacies that come along with learning things at a mature age. So first, a little bit of a video of what happens in my sessions and how Lester's helped me a hell of a lot, and then moving on to the podcast after this, so stay tuned.
It's it's almost like it holds its position in locks. Then when you push, it pulls you out of position. Maybe you just gotta try to feel like you drive your legs a little bit more into the ground. Hold. Easy. Easy, good. Come on, time it, find your legs. Oh, that's one.
Okay, once again, we are here for episode 98 of the Your Revolution podcast with the one and only Sensei Lester Ho, as we've just discussed. Lester has been on this podcast before, episode 22, so head back and check it out if you're looking for some more information on Lester, what he's done in the past, the journey he's taken to get to this point. But Lester and I were discussing this, I think it was last week, how we wanted to have a little bit more of a discussion in regards to the lifters that he's working a lot with now. They certainly don't make up all of his lifters. Definitely still has a lot of CrossFitters and some younger weightlifters, but a lot of people in the age category of myself, I'm 34, and a lot of people coming to the sport of weightlifting later. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to have a discussion about, number one, learning a new sport when you're a little bit more mature in life and some of the challenges and hassles that do come into things. And number two, fitting it all in around a busy schedule and what you should expect of yourself when you've developed maybe habits that could be good or bad in other sports previously in the past as well. So I'll hand it over to Lester firstly to give us a little bit of a snapshot of the type of people he works with day in, day out here at TG Strength in Cheltenham.
All right, thank you, Luke. Thanks for having me again on the podcast. It was a really fun one that I did way before, and I always enjoyed being in the company of you guys at Revel.
As we said, it was the 4th of July, way back in 2016.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But it was fun to chat with Jane, and we've been talking a lot with yourself. I work with a lot of your guys as well. Yeah. Just a correction, you're not 34, you're technically 35 this year.
I'm 35
so
this year.
technically it qualifies you for masters from there. So I work with a lot of people or individuals that are actually keen on lifting, whether it's for competitive purposes, whether it's for recreational purposes, from different age groups, from the guys who are really young, in their early 20s, even sometimes younger than 20s, all the way up to like 50s, 60s. Yeah. So my experience has ranged along that age bracket, which is quite a big age bracket to talk about, and it comes with a lot of different challenges. I recently have been working with a lot more masters athletes, you would call them, and masters for weightlifting basically starts anywhere from the age of 35 all the way up to even your 80s. So last year we actually went for the World Masters Games, and we had lifters within the 80-year-old age category in both male and female. So it's a very good or eye-opening experience to actually watch these guys compete, because you would think that that's like my grandma at that age or my granddad at that age still doing sport. With someone who has done sport for a long time, I started off as a 10-pin bowler when I was really young.
That's one of my questions, and you've just everything. I'm going to have to strike that off the sheet.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. Continue on.
But that's my background. I started sport at a very young age, and then I had a chance to actually develop myself as one of the top bowlers when I was younger in Singapore, and then from there that got me interested in sport or exercise science. And that's how I came here, studied, got in touch with weightlifting because that was part of my studies.
Yeah.
And funny enough, a lot of people think that just because I'm Asian and I'm Chinese looking, and
If you can't tell from his voice listening to the audio, make sure you jump on
on the video, and people would think that I started the sport of weightlifting when I was really young. Especially with, I wouldn't say I have good technique, but I have sound technique enough to allow me to perform the lifts in a safe manner. Still enjoy it, not get too injured from
It
it.
could seem to someone from the outside that this has been something that's been a lifelong.
Yes, exactly. But to tell you the truth, I also started the sport late. I wouldn't say it's late, like not the age of 30, but I started somewhere around 26, 27 when I first picked up a barbell and actually tried doing a snatch or a clean and jerk. It is from there that I had a chance to learn more about the sport from my coach, Mr. Robert Cabas, who I always accredit all my knowledge and all my experiences to. And he has taught me almost everything I knew about weightlifting, and I've gone on to develop that further on my own. I only competed maybe for another 3 to 4 years after that, doing as much competition as I could, that my body allowed me at that age. By the time I stopped competing, I was probably around the 30s, because that was when I was trying to focus on quite a few things, like my studies, getting my research done, moving on from that, starting a family, getting married, starting a family, having 2 kids now. So basically I stopped competing because I actually enjoyed coaching a lot more. I do want to go back in competition one of these days.
That was another discussion we had last week.
That was another discussion that we had, and competition has always been fun, and that kind of fun is what I want to bring across to someone who's still looking for, not say a second chance, but another opportunity to enjoy sport again.
Which is essentially what's happened with myself. I started weightlifting more to become proficient in the movements and to learn how to better coach them myself, being a personal trainer. But then I've seen, since retiring from local level football and any other sport myself, it's given me an opportunity to continue to compete in something, which is something that I started late last year, compete in a sport into later life. And I've found that it's something that can really, that is something that I can continue to improve with regardless of my age. Just taking a slight step to the side, and we'll come back to this discussion about learning and what are some of the, like mobility and things like that, are some of the challenges that would be a lot more difficult for someone in their later life to combat and improve. Obviously it can definitely be improved, but that's probably something that a 15-year-old lifter wouldn't have as many struggles with. But what are the main benefits of weightlifting? Somebody who's maybe going to start this as a sport like myself later and then can continue on their own journey, what is the benefit to weightlifting? Why would you do it? Why would you start it up?
I think with weightlifting, it's a different form of strength training. So if we talk about strength training or resistance training, the common fitness attributes or components that you actually improve are things like your strength, first and foremost, your flexibility, your mobility. These two are 2 different things. You being able to control your joints as compared to how much your joints can move. Coordination. As we grow older, we slow down a little bit. The processes in our brain take a little bit more to happen. So by keeping active with that, it allows us to actually have better coordination, stability. One of the biggest things with older people is like hip injuries. Falling down and breaking their hips or getting injured from that, and that actually reduces their quality of life. For sure. So as we grow older, our goal is to actually try to sustain or reduce that effect of aging on our quality of life. And that's where weightlifting comes in, because weightlifting helps you with that. Weightlifting gives you confidence as well psychologically, because you're lifting a lot of weight. Not really a lot of weight, but it's still an external load on top of you.
Absolutely.
So you being able to do all of that, at the end of the day, allows you to move better as a human being, and down the track even be able to do a lot more than what a normal person would do without training.
Yeah. So it can be used as an assistance pretty well, given that snapshot, for any sport. No matter what sport, or even if it's just to stay fit and healthy, it's not necessarily, as we were talking about previously, progressing to masters level sport. It doesn't have to be just for that. You could be a tennis player, a 10-pin bowler, a footballer. Any sport it's going to have assistance with, and it's going to be able to be implemented into a well-structured program.
And that's what you're going to see with the popularity of weightlifting now, because that's why a lot of previous sports have gym programs that involve some form or some variation of the lifts. Because it is that transferable. A lot of people don't see the efficacy of learning a lift like that, but by actually putting some time in, whether it's the off season or pre-season, learning that skill, after all, is a general movement skill. And that's going to benefit you down the track when you want to play your sport. It's as simple as learning how to run well. That will still transfer across to your running for AFL or even soccer.
The weightlifting as a sport has probably gone through a real renaissance in the last, what would you say, 5-10 years maybe? Would you attribute that back to CrossFit and the popularity of CrossFit? Or external factors as well?
I think it's both. So we got to give credit to people promoting the sport for us, regardless whether it comes from CrossFit, whether it comes from the weightlifting community or not. I think there is a lot done within the community of weightlifting to promote the sport, which is actually a very small sport. You wouldn't have heard of it unless you've actually know someone from it or seen someone do it. Exactly. But CrossFit has definitely brought their popularity up because it's one of their main components within their training and even their competition. The big three movements in CrossFit basically is any endurance work, gymnastic work, and weightlifting work. So I do get a lot of CrossFitters that come in and do that with the intention of improving their technique. For me, my mantra was always about bringing weightlifting to all. So regardless whether you're doing it for CrossFit, whether you're doing it because you love the sport, whether you're doing it because you want to try something new, or whether you're doing it because you thought, my sporting career is over, I just want a hobby, that all falls under the umbrella of bringing weightlifting to all.
Like my staff coming down or learning it so they can be somewhat proficient in instructing it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So I guess weightlifting is something that has really grown in popularity potentially off the back of CrossFit, as well as a wealth of momentum that's been built in the weightlifting community. Powerlifting is maybe something else that has become really in vogue, I guess, at the moment. It's really probably seeing a real surge in popularity. Is there anything else of those two would, to me, be fundamentally considered more old school strength sports? Strongman is maybe another one that is growing off the back of a real renaissance in strength training in general. Is there anything else that you can see that will be developing over the next maybe 3 to 5 years that you can see becoming more and more popular?
I think a lot of it would probably be related to what an individual can do on a daily basis. So, like you brought up, any form of strength sports. Let's say weightlifting, powerlifting, and strongman. The entry level, if it's made low, would allow someone to go, I actually can have that opportunity to do it. So I don't think it is limited to any sport. Triathlon, running, soccer. I think
that barrier to entry.
It reducing the barrier to entry and reducing that idea of as much as it is for competition, there's also that fun and social aspect of it. The reason why I started a weightlifting club was because I had so much fun with the guys that I trained with at Phoenix Weightlifting, and it was almost a time that I actually really developed my social aspect of coming here as a student on my own, that I wanted to bring across to everyone. That's why we have so much community events like dinners. We have barbecues here. Days where we train together, max out, that kind of thing. Because I think that's what's more important for any sport to grow. Building the community up and giving them an opportunity. Doesn't matter what level you're at. A lot of people see weightlifting as a very elitist kind of sport, but yes, for competition purposes, you have to have some kind of standard. But like we said, we want to get people into the sport first, get them to enjoy the sport. Then when they want to think about competition, they can think about it like that. Think of it like our kids.
Proficient then.
Like our kids when we first, like I remember when I first started 10 people, I wasn't doing it because my dad wanted me to win medals or win trophies or anything like that. I enjoyed it. Every Saturday I'll be at the alley, throwing balls down the lane and just really enjoying the game. And after that I somehow got good, throwing like spinning a ball and all that. And then it became something that became competitive. So I think if people see that progression in it, that's how the sport can actually grow and get more popular.
Absolutely.
Whereas people go straight to the competitive side and they end up going like, you need to want to compete before you can consider training for it. Which I think is almost reducing the entry, like that level of entry.
You want to learn those fundamentals first.
Learn it as much as you can. Doesn't matter how long you take it.
And especially if it's something supplementary to your main sport.
Exactly.
One of my trainers, Kiara, one of our team members at Revolution, asked me when I was heading out here, and this is a question that I think your answer is going to be how long is a piece of string, but she asked me, how long will it take to become proficient at weightlifting? Now, this is something, and secondly, what's the best way to improve at things? So maybe coming back to the last question that we're answering, having low barrier to entry into sports can really help them become more popular. So the CrossFit Open at the moment, people are really looking to probably improve their lifting.
Their lifting, their gymnastic work.
Absolutely. This will probably go to air, this podcast. I think the last workout, 18.5, will be this Friday. This will be released next week, so just afterwards. So people are going to have a long pre-season before next year. What would you say to become really proficient at the weightlifting movements and some real basics for people to work on between now and say next year if they're looking to improve that? What would you say?
I think the key thing to understand is, firstly you need to assess yourself and see where you're at specifically at that level. A lot of people find it very daunting because they don't know where to start. Even if you go for a class, like you might pop into a class and it might not be at the level that you need to be at. Let's say working with overhead squats, for example. If you can't actually do a proper air squat or bodyweight squat, then you shouldn't be even thinking of doing overhead squats. So if you are properly assessed and you know where your limitations lie, it gives you that game plan to go, hey, I know I can work on this now, I can fix this. So I think having someone there or a coach to properly assess you and say, all right, focus on this. This is the amount of time it will take. Every individual, I would say, is different. To get someone up proficiently, I can say that, maybe in a month. But this is not hitting numbers that would qualify them for certain comps.
For sure.
This is getting them to live safely, getting them to, live with the correct concepts in mind. For sure. Instead of just thinking of moving weight.
So they take those skills away.
I take the skills away. For me, I coach a lot based on how they relate to the movement. How they can relate that movement to other movements. Similar to how we extend our legs. Or maybe thinking of a jump.
Like I used with myself. Previously being a footballer, extend your legs.
Like a ruckman, going for the mark.
So it really helps you have that correlation.
So if you correlate it a lot better, it's about finding the connection, and subsequently that would make the process quicker. I can't give a specific time frame, but my guys, I try to make sure that within the 3-month mark we reassess. So it's always a constant assessing and reassessing to make sure that we know, all right, we've done enough to fix this, now we can move on to the next one. And I always believe in it being a longevity game. It's never about a quick fix, it's never about trying to get there quick, it's about being consistent with it. And that's the other thing that needs to be built up. If you want to learn a new skill, you practice.
Yeah.
And your consistency in practice will then affect your result or your outcome.
One thing I've noticed with you as a coach, you're very mindful not to give somebody too much information too soon. So when you're ready for that information, you've got, and that's something as a coach you develop over years of experience, but you could probably very easily have given me some of the coaching cues in my very first session that you're using on me now, but my mind would not have been I would not have been ready to apply that knowledge. So it's about slowly.
Exactly that.
My question on that, people probably know you as the hashtag internet weightlifting coach. What are some of the challenges of dealing in that medium for people? I'm sure hopefully there's going to be some people listening to this who might want to seek out your services and do some weightlifting coaching with you online that maybe aren't in Melbourne, might be international. This is something, once again, that you've probably developed over a long period of time, but what are some of the limitations of working with that medium?
I think, like you yourself, you're a coach and a trainer, it's always great to interact face to face, and I mean, you come here to get an interaction from me. In this day and age in our society, we are always, in a way, paying for some form of attention, paying financially for some form of attention. So, to me, if you are coming to me for a service, I would prefer it to be face to face. As much as distance is an issue and all that, it can be reduced by constant communication. One thing I've learned a lot through the years, especially with all this remote coaching or online coaching stuff, is to actually be able to set the correct tone when you bring a message across. You get this even in simple text messages with like the wife, for example. You send the wrong message or you send the wrong tone, and you might not get dinner. Then you might not get dinner the next day, or you might have to sleep on the couch. That's the kind of thing that I've picked up. Not so much as a coach, but as an individual speaking to another individual. I believe a lot in understanding the guy's day-to-day state. So I don't just like to give a program out and then end up going, oh, okay, go do it. I want to always be able to say, hey, how are you feeling?
Where you're at.
Where you're at. Let me know. The unfortunate thing is, I do have quite a few people that I need to coach like that. And being able to keep up with it on top of being here for the guys in the gym, it becomes a bit of a challenge. So I do try to set aside, like, it's time management on my part to make sure that, I keep in touch with this guy, keep in touch with this guy, keep in touch with this guy. So it becomes almost like very similar to how you approach training, where you're a bit more disciplined. You have the discipline as a coach to say, hey, I need to be in touch with this guy. Hey, I need to be in touch with this guy. Even the way you bring a message across or feedback across, you need to be constructive about it. You
don't have the luxury of tone.
You don't have the luxury of tone, so you can't just go like, oh, hey, you need to try to do this or something like that. You need to be like asking the correct questions, going like, oh, is there a reason why you're doing this? Is there a reason? Then it's a bit more approachable. One thing I find with a lot of like social media related stuff is, people don't have that tone, and you reading the message would assume a certain tone, which then ends up maybe having some form of miscommunication. I put up a lot of stuff on the internet all the time. I put up my own training. I think that's the big thing about myself, where I'm not afraid to put it up there and say these are my limitations and all that. But I also don't put up a lot of other things saying like how I don't get enough sleep because of my daughter now. Or I'm always sitting down on the couch, doing my coaching, not couch coaching.
Not couch coaching.
But like the thing is, it's people don't see all of that. So then when I put something up and I get questioned about it, you don't have that background information of it. And that's the same with remote coaching, because I don't have that background information or enough of the background information, especially if I've only started working with them just a little bit.
You don't have a big history of that.
I don't have a big history. And then it falls back to what we were talking about assessing them, saying, hey, I need to know what's actually going on. Then I can fix you. I need to know where you want to be, where you are. How you move. Then I can fix you or help you.
So Lester is the leader of the Dad Strong movement. I'm one of his disciples. Lester has two children, a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old?
3.5.
3.5-year-old named Lachlan, and a 6-month-old. So similar to myself, I have a son who's 2.5 and another son who's nearly 9 months old now. So that comes back to going full circle back to this more mature age athlete focus that you have here. and it impacts obviously your coaching and not sleeping enough and all of those sort of things. Knowing where people are at in their point of life and in their development really will impact how you work with people.
Yes.
Also their training history, training age, their work, their sleep. Coming back to my training, one of the big things we focus on is what is the minimum effective dose.
Yes.
So what can I get away with the minimal amount of training to do to make sure I'm still making progress without having to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym. Is that a big focus for mature age athletes in particular?
Oh yes. I think this is where we go back to understanding what that individual is like. You know, like you said, we need to understand the background, we need to understand what they do day to day, you know, how it changes day to day. I think as a coach, one big thing is to be empathetic about it. You know, I mean, in the past, if you are an athlete, basically you listen to what the coaches say, right? But as much as my guys are my athletes, they're also a paying customer.
For sure.
You know, so I have to make sure that they get what they want. So you yourself get what you want.
Yeah.
You know, your goal is to compete, then I'll help you get there. Your goal is to just train. You know, you need to put specific goals there, but I'll still help you get there.
It's going to be very different for each individual.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then that way I can further understand how much is your minimum effective dose.
Yep.
Because if you're telling me, oh, I want to compete, but I also want to be able to have a social life, but at the same time I'm also studying, I'm also working part time.
I've got some endurance sports.
Yeah, I've got endurance sports that I need to do. You know, then I'm going to make sure that your minimum effective dose is a lot less because there's so many other things that are involved in your life.
For sure.
You know, as much as I don't want to be like a busybody or a counselor or anything like that, but basically I need to understand what's going on everywhere else, so that then I can help you improve the aspect that you've come to me to help improve.
Definitely. If anyone's looking for Leicester's gym, you might be able to hear an aeroplane flying over. Hopefully we'll be able to mix that out. But we are right near Moorabbin Airport in Melbourne, so about a half an hour's drive from the city. He's definitely keen for anybody to head down and train here or get in touch with him online. The website is thetraininggeek.net. Just quickly moving forward, next major competition is the Oceania Masters that we're preparing for.
Australian and Oceania Masters, right?
End of May.
End of May, so 25th to the 27th. That's located in Melbourne at the Lico's Weightlifting Stadium in Porton.
Then Barcelona following that. So you've got, I think, 3 lifters.
Currently, I have 3 that have already qualified.
Yep.
I'm looking to qualify another 3 more.
Oh, hang on, keep looking at me.
Yeah, I'm looking at you a little bit, but
No,
you know,
I'm on the fringes.
look, I understand you. Like myself, we are working dads. You know, we have families to worry
We're
about.
making excuses.
Yeah, we're making
And we'll see how we go. But your athletes traveling really well?
Yeah, my athletes are traveling really well. We're in the process of doing some fundraising for
That was
them.
the next question.
I think the key thing as well is just because it's still very early to, the one in May, which is the Australian and Oceania Masters, my guys, like yourself, we will have a big contingent competing again. You know, I think almost close to 10 people. You know, we're trying to put a good show in there again. You know, you guys do all the work. I just have to be thankful for that. Yeah, I love the plates, that's all. You know? But we want to try to use that as a good indicator of where they're at, also mentally, so that we know, all right, we need to work on these issues, iron it out before we actually get to Barcelona for the big one.
So if anybody out there is listening and wants to help with the fundraising for this trip to Barcelona, how can they get involved?
They can either email me on, lester.ho.kw@gmail.com.
So lester.ho.kw@gmail.com. Also, if they've got any training inquiries, I'm sure that's where they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, definitely. On my website, the other thing as well is thetraininggeek.net. My website, we're running actually a workshop, on the 21st of April. It's a 2-session workshop. It's to teach you the basics, so learn how to lift. We're running it here at the gym from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for the snatch session, and then from 12 to 2 p.m. for the clean and jerk session. In between, we provide a barbecue with a gold coin donation if you want to, help the guys out anymore. April 21st. So all those proceeds will actually go to funding the team over there. We want to pay for, like, my goal as a coach and as the owner of the club, I want to try to, finance their accommodation as much as possible because that's the big one.
For sure.
We calculated and that will cost us quite a bit. So I want to try to see if the gym can actually finance that as much as possible. So all they got to worry about is their flights, maybe a bit of food expenses, entry fee, lifting suits. They'll probably wear their own lifting suits, so I don't have to worry about that too much. So as much as possible. The difficulties of a master's athlete is the support. Sure. There's not enough support from the weightlifting organizations to fund them to go for competitions like that. Even though they're representing the country, it's almost all self-funded. I want to do my best as a coach for them as much as possible.
Definitely. Any sponsorship, if anyone's listening that wants to help out, get in touch.
Thank you.
Jane has already asked you this question, but potentially it might have been updated or changed slightly since episode 22, 2 years ago almost. Yep. What is your purpose as a coach?
My purpose as a coach is to get everyone to enjoy the sport. That's the essence of being a coach. As much as getting someone better at the sport, they need to enjoy it. Because with enjoyment comes adherence, comes consistency, comes discipline, comes motivation. So at the end of the day, I want to bring weightlifting to everyone, and I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to enjoy it, regardless of when you started, how late you started, how early you started. If you enjoy it, you're happier in life. Everything else is a lot better.
Absolutely. So someone quickly that was at our last competition competing, Milosh.
Yeah, Milosh. Yes.
70.
70 something, I think.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. You're just sitting beside him, and
Yeah, he was telling me he was still nervous. I was thinking I was going to maybe be over that after a couple of competitions, so that burst that bubble pretty quickly. So quickly, the last thing that we're going to focus on, I generally like to do 20 questions with people.
Yep.
A one-word answer or a yes or no answer. So we can't embellish these too much. It puts you under a bit of pressure.
Okay.
So, first up, snatch or clean and jerk?
Snatch.
Weightlifting or CrossFit?
Weightlifting.
Quads or calves?
Quads.
Snatch or squat or deadlift?
Squat.
Coach or compete?
Coach.
Coach or study?
Coach.
Coach or load bars at a competition?
Coach.
Masters athletes or open age athletes?
You're making me choose.
Gotta make this difficult, see?
None.
Neither. No one. Stay at home. Online or in person?
In person.
Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Favorite barbell?
Row.
Alright. Yeah. It's a left field. People wouldn't have expected it. It's good. Favorite exercise in the gym?
Snatch.
Biomechanics is? Question mark.
Science.
Favorite meal Leanne cooks? Leanne's sister's wife, by the way. And she's a great cook.
Asian.
Oh, there's a best weightlifting resource out there besides the traininggeek.net. .net.au or just .net?
.net. Tough one. Recently, Barbend.
Barbend.
Yeah.
Training seems to go in cycles. We've touched on this before. What's old is new again sometimes. Any more insights into what might be the next thing to maybe have a renaissance like weightlifting?
I think the renaissance in that is basically, even in high level weightlifting. Is this meant to be
It was meant to be a one-word question, but anyway, riffing on this is good. This is number 16 out of my 20.
Okay. So what's the main thing to be next, right?
Yeah, what's next?
Max out.
Max out, just like 1RM testing, everybody. RM testing everywhere. Be ready for it, everybody. Biggest bang for buck exercise that everyone or most people should be doing to improve their weightlifting.
Dead bugs.
Dead bugs, but there you go, another left field one, I like it. A lot of people don't know this, we touched on this, but you were an elite 10-pin bowler, 10-pin bowling or weightlifting. If you got a day, an afternoon to yourself, no children, no work, no husbandly duties, you could go 10-pin bowling or weightlifting, which one?
I'll do both.
You do both. Very sitting on the fence here with all of these. Next, Singapore or Melbourne?
Oh.
So you got to ask the tough questions.
Oh.
The next one's even worse.
Home. Whichever's home.
Whichever's home. Laurel or Lachlan? You can say both as well. Both.
Okay, both.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Lester. Once again, if you're wanting to reach out and get in touch with Lester, the traininggeek.net, Instagram at LesterHoKW or
Lester.ho.kw. So that's
at Gmail.
At gmail.com.
And what about Instagram?
Instagram's That's the Whole Kingdom, sorry.
Thank you very much for being on here, or in person, Voluntary Street, Cheltenham, the Training Geek Gym.
Yeah,
TG Strength. Get down here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget to jump on revopt.com.au/podcast. Lester's been kind enough to provide a 2-week introductory program to weightlifting for all those people out there that are really keen on learning the fundamentals. Once again, that's revopt.com.au/podcast. Check it out.